Dope. Do you like popcorn?
You know what? I used to really not like popcorn, but recently I've kind of gotten into it, but not just like regular buddy movie theater, but
booty popcorn.
I know booty popcorn. No, they like flavored like whatever kind of stuff. So shout
like
out
the dill pickle one.
if this makes the cut, shout out to Off the Cob over there by Target.
Yeah, that
because I
shit's
just
good.
discovered them.
Oh yeah.
Amazing flavors up
So
the ass.
many flavors
Galore.
They've got pickle. They've got spicy pickle.
And I mean,
Apparently, I only care about dill popcorn.
shout out to my sister who let me know because I was babysitting my nephew, and I went to their place, and they had apparently if you go buy like a 2 gallon or I believe 2 gallon or 3 gallon, the 1 gallon, gallon. Like, well, it's not a bag, it's a tin. Sorry. It's a tin. It is a tin, and they separate it, and you can.
That must be so big.
Yeah. So it costs like a certain amount for the tin, which is not that expensive, and then you fill it up the first time. You pay for the popcorn. It did not come out to be as much as I thought it would.
No, it's not.
And then because it's popcorn, and then you every time you come in, because you buy that tin, there's a sticker on the bottom of it. It's like half off your refill.
Oh, nice.
And so pretty. I was like, oh, that's a great idea.
This podcast is now sponsored by Off the Cob.
Yeah.
For all your movie nights.
Robert, my boyfriend, he loves popcorn. And so I was like, so I got him some the other day from there because I was just like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like flavored popcorn. And then occasionally I have to be in the very exact correct mood to eat popcorn. I also do like white cheddar popcorn. That's like probably, if I'm on a road trip, that's like one of the snacks that I'll buy.
Yeah. It's good.
Anyways.
Boobies. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, you guys. Well, that made the cut. That was our little rant on popcorn.
Rant on popcorn.
Rants on popcorn, you guys. Go check out Off the Cob. Pretty good popcorn.
You can have lots of movie nights with popcorn.
You really can.
It really is fitting for this podcast.
And this podcast it's Boobies.
Boobies. That's right. And we are your hosts. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Joshua.
And we're here to talk to you about some spooky.
Spook. Yeah, this week we're going to continue on like our little back to school little memo we're doing. So we're covering R.L. Stein's Fear Street. Yeah, there's a 3-part saga on Netflix that you can all watch. And the first one being 1994. Yeah. Which is the year we were born.
That's right.
It's super cool.
Hooray us.
Yeah.
And we were both like, this was taking place in October 1st, October 2nd, 1994.
Yeah, so we were already
both
born.
alive.
Yeah, that's really cool. We were babies.
Alive for this.
Boobies.
Really, truly babes.
Yeah, little babes.
Little babes. Just wee pappies.
I was shitting.
Yeah, me too, probably.
Probably. I don't know. Actually, knowing me, I was holding it in. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we should preface this is your first time watching, right?
Yes, and my first time watching, and you haven't seen the other ones.
So
yet.
I've seen all 3.
Okay.
And they're connected. So for me, I'm kind of like, ooh, I know what's gonna come next.
This first one definitely alluded to, I could tell, like, I mean, it kind of gave you the main murders that were in it. And just based off of even the title.
Intro?
Well, just on the little tag, like the picture of the movie.
And it has other pictures from other scenes of movies. Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, this is going to be there. And some of the masks were really fucking cool. Like that the camp one. Yeah. I love that mask.
Yeah.
That was very good.
Nightwing. Yeah.
Gave me very like The Strangers.
Oh yeah, there was definitely a lot of pull from other movies in this.
And then the one with the little boy that gave me like Bram Stoker's boy.
There was that Ruby Lane, and then who had the milkman. Yeah, there's a lot of killers. Yeah, Skull Mask. What I will say is exactly, but also too what I will say for context is I did watch all 3 together, and I remember when I first watched the first one. immediately I was like, this is not my favorite. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really care for this. And then when I watched the other ones, I was like, okay, I like these. But now in watching it back again,
You like it
and I
more?
know what's coming next, I see all the things that were lined up for everything to happen. And I'm just like, it just makes so much more sense.
Damn.
And it just like,
I should have watched all 3 immediately.
No. Because honestly, this will be really fun for this perspective and your perspective.
That's true.
On not knowing what's coming up.
Yeah.
And it just made me kind of appreciate more like the vibes that this one was giving, especially in the other ones. They're all different eras, and they really do give you
those
like,
times.
Yes, it's not just
the
like
soundtrack for this was spot on for the 90s.
Yeah, literally.
Loved it. It was
hit
really
clips
good.
all the way.
Yeah, hit clips.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to.
And
grunge. But so okay, are they? I'm just curious. I don't think this question would spoil anything, but are they going to kind of answer? Like, are we going to go back in the past and it's going to start with her like telling us like the continuation to figure out like what needs to happen next? Okay,
Sure,
cool. Because it said to be continued, but then we're going to go back in the past, and so I was like,
it will find its way back. Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of throughout the movies a little interwoven, especially so. I would say the second one goes back to the past a lot more, and then in the third one it brings back. You're getting both a past and present storyline.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of interwoven.
Okay.
Towards not straight from the beginning, but more towards the end of it, like or halfway marker. We get back to nowadays, and we're like, okay, we're figuring everything out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It honestly is like a nice little box with a little ribbon on top. It's like you figure out from A to Z what happened between the 3. All right.
I loved it.
So yeah, we start this movie off at the Shadyside Mall at the bookstore.
Shadyside Mall. What a name.
Right?
What a very
at both names, I'm like, oh my god.
Shadyside, Sunnyvale. This is why I was giving Riverdale. The lighting and everything, like how it was shot, also gave me very Riverdale.
Is there a opposite school of Riverdale? I don't watch Riverdale. Is there like a bright
I feel like there was, but. Well, there was like the bad. I think Riverdale was the good
one.
School.
Okay.
I watched up until like season 3, and then they just started singing every chance they got, and I was like, I can't. Yeah. Like, I love musicals, but I can't fucking handle this shit.
Yeah.
You're getting people like who are like
not singers.
Yeah, to sing, and I mean, it's not like they're bad. It was kind of how I felt about the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Like when we got into like the 3rd season, everyone was singing all the time, and I was like, just because they can sing doesn't mean we need to put it into and those are directed by the same people.
Yeah, that's funny.
Doesn't mean we need to put it into everything. It would be like having like both of us are very like decent at singing, right? We're good at singing. That doesn't mean we need to go singing every chance we can get.
Yeah,
and it's because it's not like we're like Ariana Grande out here or fucking like I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, so, I can't compare, but. We do enjoy singing.
We do.
But
we're not bad.
Besides the note, it just reminds me of like, it reminds me of a RuPaul roast of Rose roasting RuPaul. And he said, me and RuPaul both have something in common. We both like have songs out or something like that. The only difference is one of us is a singer and one of us is a recording artist. Yeah. So
exactly.
Back to it. We're opening up. We have Miss Heather played by Maya Hawke, which is Uma Thurman's and someone else's child.
And so she's
Ethan Hawke
from was she also in Stranger Things?
She's in Stranger Things.
Okay, and that's so what I thought. This was also giving me very Stranger Things.
Well, the funny thing is Sadie Sink is also in it.
Yeah, so Sadie Sink is in the next one.
Thing, but the director of the movie, Miss Leigh Janiak. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. Leigh Janiak. She is married to Josh, whatever his face, one of the Duffer brothers.
Oh, okay.
She's his wife. So that's why maybe like the Stranger Things, this vibe is kind of there because she's married to the guy who created it.
That makes sense.
So she probably shares like the same type of like, mindset. Ideas because they're like married.
They're married. Yeah. They're around. You take on the tendencies of who you're with.
And they probably have a commonality. Like that's probably something they like get off on, like talking about this and that about, whatever. But
they like fuck while they're coming up with ideas.
Oh God. Literally. And orgasm. That's how we came up with Stranger Things season 5. So we are opening up with her. She is kind of dealing with this rude ass bitch of a customer.
For
because
real.
she's buying
it's just
something
lowbrow horror.
It's just to like entertain my teenage daughter. And so anyways, we get a phone call, and it's very already Scream like, very Scream with the phone call, and she answers it. But I mean, it's her boyfriend, or I'm assuming her boyfriend, I don't know, maybe just friend, but Ryan Torres.
Yeah.
And he is at the other store, I guess, some sex shop store or whatever.
It was giving me
Spencer's, yeah, on the other side of the mall, or somewhere in the mall. And so they're kind of chatting for like a quick second, but like they want to hang out, but he needs to close up or something.
And then he was also taken aback.
The phone line gets cut off. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was also taken aback whenever she answered. He was like, you don't usually
work late.
Work late. Yeah. And so I wonder if like even then the murders were already like going in his head, regardless of possession or not.
Yeah.
And then he was like, well, fuck, now I'm going to have to kill her too.
Yeah. I don't know if it
Or he
necessarily
wanted to.
had happened yet. I think it only happened whenever we heard that whisper.
Oh.
Because they
came into his body.
They catch up. They start to talk. They want to hang out. But
he
he
scares
has
her
to
with a
close
blow-up
up.
doll.
Yeah. What?
So
Blow up doll story?
Last night at the high school,
Uh-huh.
I was at the football game.
Yeah.
And they said, so you know how like a lot of high school football teams will like run through those
those big blow up things.
blow-up
and it's
things.
their mascot.
Yeah. And
We had one, and it was a pirate, and it
Yeah.
always looked like guys running out of his like hoo-ha.
I love it.
Yeah.
This one is a demon panther.
Oh,
It's got
wow.
like the most like
yours.
yes.
Oh.
And
Oh,
it's,
because
like,
you're
got-
Panthers, right?
Wow. Like
Yeah.
I'm not
Oh,
gonna
it
say
growls?
the name. No, but it just has like these red eyes and it looks like a spawn of Satan dog.
Yeah.
It would guard the gates of hell.
Yeah.
Funny for this non-inclusive Bible thumping like school.
Mm-hmm. The school will not be named.
Yeah. And so as they were announcing, they were trying to say like they had like the little kids running through, you know?
Yeah.
And they said, if you'll direct your attention to the Panther blow up doll.
Blow up doll, really?
Is what he said.
Oh Lord, he
And
needed a script.
Everyone started laughing, and then he kind of started chuckling himself. You could tell, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this!" And
That's
it was
awkward.
it was for like elementary school kids to run out and be like, "We're the little
Yeah,
Panthers."
yeah.
And, I mean, God, we're in Waco, and there's only like one. We should
Probably stop saying that.
Yeah.
But
And now, a word from our sponsors.
yeah, I can see that. That's pretty fucking hilarious.
Sorry, it just made me laugh so much.
blow up doll. Runs with the blow up doll.
One of the other directors and I looked at each other and we went, "Nope,
Yeah.
not what that is."
What would you say it is?
I would just
Inflatable?
say inflatable.
Or giant?
Yes.
Whatever.
I would say if you'll direct your eyes to the
giant
end zone
blank. Yeah.
with the like inflatable, Panther inflatable,
The beep inflatable.
beep inflatable. I already said it was a spawn of Satan.
Alrighty, and that's fitting. And so we have her going back to her store. She's just kind of waiting, and she ends up
And she can't close the gate.
She can't close the gate for one,
Which I was
which
like,
is weird. I
Are
figured
you supposed to leave it
also
open like
no,
that?
you're not,
Because
So
there's
I've-
backdoor exits for them all, right? Like, so you can lock up.
Yeah,
Typically,
I
right?
would say. Well, I mean,
I've
when
never worked at the mall.
I used to work at the mall actually, so this was like very nostalgic. I used to work at the mall, and I would lock up. No, I wouldn't. You would actually. You're advised not to go through the back.
Oh,
Because
really?
shady shit could happen in the back.
Oh.
So yeah, no, you
One time.
lock up the front gate. Like when you pull it down, you lock up on the other side, and you're gone.
Oh,
like,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
I the closest mall in my hometown was like 40-minute drive
Mhm.
either way to get to them. So like, well, I've never worked there.
Yeah.
But I probably would have given the opportunity.
Uh-huh.
I would have totally worked at Hot Topic. Look at me. Or Auntie Anne's.
I would have like spent all my checks on the pretzels.
Yep.
I
would've.
love their
They
pretzels.
slap so hard.
Anytime I go to the mall, I get that in a cookie.
Mm-hmm. Good. But one time, I don't know how, I was in Las Vegas, as I go for twice a year for work. And my boss and I, we were trying to, something happened. Oh, the mall had closed, but we were trying to get out. And for some reason, like the doors were closed. I don't know, but
Or locked in?
we got like locked and we were lost inside the like back halls of this like mall. It's the fashion show
Was it a
mall
huge
in
mall?
Las Vegas. Yes, it's
Okay.
a huge mall. And we were like locked walking around these back corridors and we couldn't find our way out. There was like no exit. We were walking
Right
around
here.
for like a solid 15 minutes.
Nobody,
no one was
people?
there.
Like it was
Nope.
lights out?
That I don't I don't remember. I don't know why there were no people.
Well, it's funny because
like these
even I was about to
hospitals
mention,
and shit.
and
Like,
I was about to say too, like,
where are all the people?
well, because I used to work at the mall, and
They
so,
also don't close the lights off.
well, they don't. And I was about to say because she ends up going out of whatever, and they end up in like the main area of the mall. And I was thinking like, I remember closing the mall, and there's still like people closing up in other shops or like,
Finishing up.
There was a few janitors there, of course, but I mean like more, and like there's just other people there. There was never like just not people there.
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
I mean,
But it's
apparently
also a scary
7
movie.
bodies happened to be murdered,
Mhm.
or 7 humans happened to be murdered. There were 7 bodies found, plus the perpetrator.
Yeah.
So obviously there
So
were multiple
6
people.
and not including her, so 5. There were 5 other people other than them 2.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And then also the janitor who survived, at least.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So, I mean, there were other people, but
It
this.
shouldn't have looked like that, and
Yeah.
the lights shouldn't have been off all the way.
No.
But okay, let's get back at it. We're in the library or whatever, her bookstore, sorry, and one of the books falls off the shelf. Bloop. Blippity blop. Oh, before that, Ryan was hearing a whisper in his ear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As he walked off from
His
meeting
name.
her,
Yeah.
he heard.
He thought it was her, but it wasn't her. And so the book falls off the shelf. This happens like a few other times. And then we get like a little run in the behind the scenes.
Figure
and so,
rushes past.
Yeah. There you go. Silhouette. And so we know someone's in there with her. She knows someone's in there with her. She's a little spooked.
Mm-hmm.
And then we start getting attacked like immediately because she gets stabbed. But I don't believe it gets to her right because it gets to that
she's
book.
saved by the book.
By the book. And
Stabs the
she,
book.
she like kind of pushes them away, and she's running.
She's
right?
shimmying under the gate,
Yeah,
which
uh-huh.
that gave me very Scream as well.
Oh yeah, like the what's it called? The garage door.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best all time like kill scenes.
Yes, love
Miss
it.
Rose McGowan. And so she ends up getting away from him. She's running. She goes to his. She thinks she doesn't know that it's Ryan, so she goes to Ryan's store, and she doesn't see him there. She gets on the phone, tries to call 911, but she isn't able to get anything in because she's afraid and runs away. But I feel like there was definitely time to be like, I'm being attacked. Send help.
Yeah,
I'm running away now. Can't talk. You know.
she thankfully did at least say Shadyside Mall.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming that's how the police showed up there in general.
Yeah.
Whenever.
But they have a like they can trace back where the call came from, I believe, even from then and that time, even though it's a landline.
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
sure. But
Yeah.
she did say my name's like
So that
I'm
was
in the
faster.
Shadyside Mall.
Yeah.
Blah,
Than them
blah,
having
blah.
to look it up.
And then she was like, "Ma'am, if you don't tell me it's wrong, I'm going to send help."
Yeah, which they should always do.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's what I called 911 when I was like, I remember 7 or 8, and I remember the cops ended up showing up, and they were like, they gave me like a good little talking to, like, you can't do this. This isn't, you know.
You just did it for fun.
There could people who could actually have like an emergency.
And
yeah,
then
I just did it for like, I think just because I was like, well, I'm curious, so
Mhm.
I'm gonna call 911. And then someone came on the line. I was like kind of spooked. I don't remember if it was a lady or a guy, but they were just like, "What's your emergency?" And I was just like, and then hung up. Like literally, that's it. It was just like that's it. I didn't even talk to them. And then
so they traced.
So they traced it and sent someone back to where the call came from. Yep,
The call is coming from inside the house.
it was. It was from inside the restaurant. Actually, I called it from Molly's. I was there just waiting for my mom and dad, like to finish working, and yeah.
Oh no!
And so they came there.
Josh, I love that so much.
Mm-hmm. I was just sitting there. I don't remember why. I just did it, and then they came. And then when they came, I was scared, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
They're gonna take me to jail.
I was like, I messed up. Oh shit! Like that was a
Yeah.
really bad thing. And then they were like, "Don't do it again." And I was like, "Okay." I'm sorry. I think I probably did cry because I was a crybaby.
Oh, I
I
bet
did anything. Anytime I got in trouble, anytime anybody yells at me.
Well,
to
I
this
guess it
day, I still
depends on
sometimes
what
cry.
age I was, because then there was one time I remember I had to get like picked up by a police officer, and
I've never
was
cried
like-
with
I think I
police
was a
officers
dick.
actually.
oh yeah, typically whenever they come up to my, like most of the times when they're like, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" I'm like, "No." I
Do
guess
you know
so
why?
much-
No, just
yeah.
kidding. Yeah.
And then-
but yeah.
Then like that last time I got pulled over by that dick hole cop who was flashing his headlights at me,
Mm-hmm.
and then like tried to pull me over in the middle of nowhere. I was like, "Sir, I've watched too many true crime documentaries for this shit. You could be a rando ass killer posing as a cop."
Mm.
And so I made him drive to a
Give
well-lit
me
area.
your credentials.
Yeah. And he was like, "Why'd you speed up?" And I was like, "'Cause you were scaring me. Hence why I made you follow me a mile down the road to this very well-lit gas station."
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't stopping it. We were in the middle. It was like in between
Nowhere?
Austin and here.
Oh, like Salado or somewhere.
Yeah, so
that's,
somewhere
like really
like
dark. I know
where
those
there's not a
areas.
lot of light and stuff. And I was like, I ain't pulling over on the side of the road here. Fuck that.
It's very dark
Yeah.
until your car lights up on fire.
So
And then
much
they put it
history.
out, and then you're left there for a little
In
bit.
the dark.
Anyways, fun times.
Roasted
So
marshmallow.
she ends up getting found again by the skull killer. She ends up actually getting able to put in a few. She puts up a little good fight.
Even after her tummy was slashed.
Yeah, because he did slash her tummy. She
Oh,
ends
and
up
I liked
running
the way she did move right in front of him. That also gave me very Scream 3,
Yeah.
right?
I feel
No,
like
2. Scream 2.
What part?
Whenever they're in the costume department.
Oh, yes.
Is that is Scream 3?
Yeah, that's Scream 3.
Okay, so I
Whenever
was right
with
the first time.
the blonde lady.
Yeah.
Oh, I forget the actress's name, but she's famous. Well, they're all famous, but
Yeah.
yeah. And he's in behind her, and he comes up and just
Yeah, it gave me that.
And even here in a moment, she's running out of there, and it's very Scream because she's trying to find like help, but everyone's dead.
Everyone's dead.
And she's running, and he ends up coming behind her, very Scream, and he ends up stabbing her, very Scream. And then
This
he
scene
gets her on the
was so
floor.
dramatic.
Yeah.
I did like
I
it.
love it. Yeah. And he ended up stabbing her. She's on the ground. He's stabbing her more.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's able, just like Scream, to take off the mask. But instead of Scream, we actually get to see who the killer is, and it's Ryan.
It's Ryan.
And she's like, what the Ryan? And he's just like, stab.
She's like, it's me.
Clink, clink, clink.
Tink, tink.
Ting, ting. And she
This
takes,
one's for you, Kesley.
and then he gets shot in the head by
Which-
Sheriff Good.
That was fucking,
Boom.
which not so good. That scene was good.
It was intense. I liked it. It was
the way
pretty-
his eyes like. Mm.
And then he just lands on top of her, and then her acting as well with just like those last like dying breaths.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
like literally choking on blood.
Mhm.
Yeah, the lighting, everything through that was super cool. It did
the
give
neon
me,
lights and all
it-
that. Yeah.
and like the black light scene that happened when she was in
Oh,
like the
mhm.
Spencer
Yeah,
store
that's
or
right.
whatever.
Yeah,
Spencer's is gonna email us like, we are no way affiliated with this.
yeah. You've said it too
Just
many
kidding.
times.
But yeah, it was all very good. And then this part, I think that's why it reminded me of Stranger Things, is because the ending of Stranger.
I was in a mall.
Yeah.
It's probably the same fucking mall.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Honestly.
He was like, hey, babe, I'm going to borrow that.
Let me use your set.
Yeah, so and so she actually, over a course of 108 days, all of these movies were filmed together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, back to back.
That's
She filmed them back to
fast.
back, 108 days, because the studio wanted a movie told in 3 parts, put out close together, like 3 weeks apart.
okay, but they still could have given her like more time to shoot.
I just think that's actually like how fast she got it done.
Damn.
Like, yeah.
I
don't know if it was necessarily like you got to get it done in this much time.
And for it to be such a beautiful, like, I mean,
it was very beautifully shot.
beautifully shot.
Yeah.
Like
mhm.
every angle and the lighting and everything was all very nice and very like saturated. I don't know. It was good.
Yeah.
I liked the way everything was shot, because a lot of the times in horror you get the grayscale and stuff.
Or it's so dark you just can't
see. And
can't
this
see what's
had
going
very like, it was dark.
had lighting in the background to show what's happening.
It was
It's
good.
really nice.
I really liked the way everything was shot.
It
in this
gave
film.
like whoever was making it, in terms of like the cinematography part, like really was just like had an eye for actual photography, because it's like if you were to take a still, it would look perfect.
Yeah. And then also, I mean, even with how rushed it is and the fact that it is, yes, still a very juvenile film, kind of a comedy horror aspect too, I feel like.
It has a very young perspective.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I feel like in terms
but
of
the like acting wasn't juvenile. The acting was still good.
So superb from all of them, especially I really liked Kate. I thought she was bomb.
Oh, I loved Kate.
I loved
She
Kate.
is also, she gave me hardcore what's her face from Riverdale, the real hot one who dates
don't know.
Archie. I don't know. I stopped watching after season 3 because one day I was watching it on my laptop, and that was the only way I could get Netflix, and I was drinking wine in bed and I fell asleep. And I woke up to a black
Kaput.
screen, and then I turned my laptop upside down and wine
Came out. Ooh, that sucks.
Yep. So no more TV for me.
So Ryan's dead. He got shot by the sheriff. Good. And then straight kind of right after that, we do get a credit scene, which kind of gives us a little bit of the background.
She plays Veronica.
Gotcha.
Sorry, Camila Mendez.
She gets hot. She gets all the booze. And so we have this Sunnyvale, Shadyside kind of intro with the credits going on over it. That's kind of giving you an explanation of this rivalry between these two towns. Kind of sets up a lot of what's going to happen in this movie, what's going to happen in the rest of the saga of this series.
It's really telling you about all of the murders that have taken place over the years.
Shadyside, yes. And what we
It's
even
named
get
Killer Capital USA, which I was like,
that's
what
awesome.
a dumb fucking name. Oh,
I was like, wow. No, I like it. Killer Capital
original.
USA. Killer Capital.
I would
Killer
put that.
Capital.
I would put that. Welcome to Killer Capital USA.
Murder City. Maybe that.
Murder City would have been
Murder
better.
Valley. And so we have Fear Street, 1994. Finally, a good little title card to the opening of this whole movie. And then we got the opening. We're meeting our actual, I'd say, main characters. We've got Dina. She's watching the news or kind of getting ready for school, I guess, whatever. And it's in the background.
And she's
watching
writing
the news.
a note and scratching it out.
Yeah.
To someone named Sam.
Sam.
Which is such an like androgynous
Ambiguous
name.
name.
Yeah. And then so I was like, ugh. And then
Whenever you saw that
I saw them making out and stuff, and I was like, clearly one of those people is Sam. And then when the girl walked up, I was like, hell yeah, Sam's a girl.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It's kind of a little bit of a twist, but not really, because you're kind of alluded to. You're kind of
yeah.
thinking already, just because of what society has as normal to, is that it's the boy, but it ends up being a girl.
Yeah.
And so we have her writing this little note. She is Sheriff Nick Good is on the TV screen. He's explaining like what happened at the Shadyside Mall. And we get, and like we heard over the opening credits, this is just another thing added to the long line of tragic events that keeps happening to this town.
And then this town is located right next to Sunnyvale, the safest and wealthiest place.
Literally.
And so it's like
very
direct
180,
antithesis.
very the sunny side and the dark side.
A dichotomy.
And we have her brother, Josh, who is on the computer. He is doing the internet, very 90s style.
The internet.
Very early internet.
Do you know how much AOL cost?
Yeah. He's on the AOL. He's talking to some friends.
The queen.
Who are all talking about what happened the night before, because Homebrew is kind of like a little detective, but we'll get to know that in just a second. We are learning at this point about the Milkman from 1953 and Ruby Lane from 1965 and Camp Nightwing massacres of 1978 as they're going through the chat on the AOL. And then we learn that they believe that the culprit or the responsibility falls on Sarah Fear, who is a witch.
From 1666. Yes.
6666.
Yes.
And so
and
that is kind
nice
of
that
essentially
her name is Fear.
Yeah, that's but
Fear
it's F-I-E-R.
Yes.
And
I would have thought it was fire.
Fire. Oh, okay. Yeah. Like I would have like Guy Fieri. Like that's why I was like, oh, Fier.
That makes sense.
And so
I guess I'm thinking more German in my head, which you would pronounce the first syllable.
Fire. I.
Or first vowel.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Words.
Yeah, no, you're fine. And so, yeah, that's kind of giving a really good, I guess, backdrop and context for literally what is going to plague the rest of the series. Josh is kind of a detective, isn't he? I would say, because he had like literally all of those things all over the corkboard
it was just
or whatever.
Missing the red strings.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
I love when Dina, right, is her name?
Yeah, Dina, her sister. His sister, yes.
Yeah, whenever she walks up and she's like, the internet is why you have no friends. And I was like, oh.
And like the internet was how I had friends back in the day. But it's different because it's 1994.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's still like, considered nerdy to be on the internet.
Yeah.
Because I guess back then, the only thing you would look up on the internet is like information, like studying shit. Like it wasn't necessarily for entertainment yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we learned about all that. They're getting ready to go to school. Basically, they do get to school. As soon as we get to school, it's very 90s. Like this is where I definitely even got more of like, okay, we are in the 90s for sure because of like the music they're playing, the way the kids are like
dressed.
the dress, look, even the like. I don't know how like
the shit that was flying.
Yeah, basically because I'm
fact
like
that kids were running down the
like,
hallway.
School is not like that anymore.
Yeah, have a body in tow. I mean, obviously it was a dummy.
Yeah,
but like
that
just
would not
so insensitive.
That would not fly today at all.
No,
and I don't even think kids would be even like that's not cool. Like today, they'd be like, that's stupid. But
Mhm.
anyways, but also I'm no longer a child or a teenager and cannot relate.
Yeah.
I don't know. So we have what is happening? Oh yeah. We have the what's his face or whoever, we don't ever know who it is, comes and carves on the fucking like locker.
Yeah, R.I.P. And that's how we see that, like, that's how Dina sees that Heather is dead.
Yeah. And before that, I mean, we do kind of get just transitions of, I guess it is kind of plays into Josh has a crush on Kate because they walk by and he has like the flirty Google eyes for her.
Yeah, and he says some sort of cheat code.
Yeah, that's right.
Out loud, which he does whisper again later. And I'm like, I wonder what that cheat code is.
Yeah, maybe it calms
for
him or something, or nerve calming, just
maybe.
like do his like, because
helps him like cheat life.
I don't know, maybe it just
gives him some confidence.
Give like combo. And
up, left, right, down, A.
Literally. And also,
or it's like, isn't that like,
were kids ever making out like that at your school?
No. My school was also hella strict.
I was like, even my school. Okay, my school wasn't that strict like that, I would say, but there weren't just people making out in front of each other.
Yeah, you weren't allowed to like walk down the halls. If you were like in the hallway without a hall pass,
you're going in between classes. That's it.
Yeah. And you were like, you would be in trouble. And where I teach now, like these kids can just wander. And I have come across kids just making out in the hallway. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're in high school. Get your tongue out of their throat.
2 feet apart.
Yep.
Yeah. Get a ruler. Leave some space for Jesus. Okay. Jesus. And so, yeah, we end up having Dina going into the restroom and she's talking to Kate, and also Simon ends up being in there, and we're just like, why the fuck is Simon in the men's restroom? But then, women's restroom, my bad. And then we end up, they're all having a conversation,
and there's
basically
some very large graffiti on the wall.
Yeah, very large graffiti.
With the little rhyme.
Yeah, and Kate's talking about the witch, Sarah Fear, and how it's her, whatever.
She's like, it's some fucked up Santa Claus or some shit.
Because they like don't necessarily believe it at this point, but it's something that they still perpetuate because it's like fun, kind of like urban legend, I guess, for them. And there's town.
I mean, I would lean into it too.
Sure. And we have Simon pulling up from,
but I'd also be believing it,
which is a foreshadowing. We have Simon pulling up from up top, they're up a box. They call it a candy store, a candy box that they were trying to get to, and we figure out that they're pushing drugs. They're selling drugs.
Drug dealing cheerleader.
Percocets and Vicodin.
Yeah, for sure, at least, because those are the ones that are blueberries and bananas.
Yeah,
that are.
Is that what they're called today?
Like,
I don't know.
Like what they're called on the street? I
don't
know.
Oh, okay.
I've taken Vicodin.
Am I an narc?
Twice in my life.
Kaylin, what is it called? Arrest her. She knows.
Every time I take Vicodin, I just throw up, and then like I just like pass out and then wake up just enough time to throw up. That was like, they tried to put me on some like strong narcotics like that after my wisdom teeth, and then I threw up and ripped out all my stitches.
Oh,
so
I don't think I've ever tried either.
I don't handle those well. My body reacts very strongly to like any medicine put in me.
And of course, you should only take these medicines if they've been prescribed to you.
That's
we should
right.
probably preface with that.
Yeah. Ain't no Charlie Bartlett's here.
But I've never tried either. I'll just leave it at that. And we have them talking a little bit more. Dina gives this box for Sam, or for Kate to give to Sam tonight at the football game or whatever it is, vigil.
Says this will give you some balls to speak to Sam.
She wants her to give it to her because she is not going. They're like, we thought you were in the band. She's like, I'm no longer in the band. I just don't want to go. Yeah. She's basically just like pissed off at the world. And we have them then, we learn that Simon's brother, Timothy, OD'd, but he didn't really, because they like brought him back to life, and this will come back later on in the movie.
Yeah. And they're making some pretty insensitive jokes about it. I'm like,
lied about
dude, yo, that's your brother.
Yeah, but I definitely feel like that's the time, like that also, well, maybe they're not that close, or maybe also, I mean, the way Kate and Simon's characters flush out, that gives on brand for them. For me, I feel like they don't have, I mean,
because later on he literally says, let's Timothy this bitch.
Yeah,
and
and I
at first I forgot who Timothy was. I was like, and then whenever they get to the drugstore, they were like, my brother Timothy OD'd, and I was like,
oh yeah.
And I was like, damn, poor taste, but okay.
Yeah, and it's a very dark humor is what it is. Very dark. Oh, would you say it's even too dark for you?
I mean, I did chuckle.
Yeah.
I don't think if one of my brothers OD'd and then even brought back to life, I don't think I'd be making jokes about it though. Yeah. I don't know. No, because I wouldn't
too soon
want either of my brothers to die. So
so this is giving at this point I think I said, oh, they walk out of the restroom and they have like where you said earlier, the dude running by with the little strung up doll basically, and he's saying, you know, kill the witch or something, or
something
Sarah
like
Fear
that.
is dead. I don't know, but I was like, this
The
is also
witch.
giving very Scream, because this hasn't happened in Scream as well.
yeah.
And then we get a little announcement that it is mandatory for anybody they're giving an announcement in the auditorium or gym, whatever, that all the football players, band members, cheerleaders, they are all mandated to go to the game because there's going to be a vigil.
Yes. And then it basically cuts to them getting on the bus, which is like, LOL, that they all ride the same bus.
Yeah, never. Where? I'm like, is it that small of a town?
I guess it must be. And then also I'm like, what is your, like, I guess it's like a 4-person band. They've got 5 cheerleaders. And then what do you need 11 people to play football? Is that what the 12th man thing is about at A&M?
I don't know.
I think you need a certain amount of football players. And so I guess they all fit. I mean, there's at least that many seats on a bus.
Yeah.
Because they were all sitting in their own
But
seats.
it wasn't full.
It wasn't full. And also, homegirl had her Shaco on with her pluma in. All the band kids did. And I'm like, hey, them plumes expensive. And they will.
You will not put.
Bloop, bloop, bloop.
Yeah. And
the plumes are very well protected. You don't wear, you wear gloves while handling them because they're actual feathers. You don't want the oils on your fingers to fuck them up. And then, you don't wear your Shaco the whole time.
No.
But it's fine. We'll let them have it.
Yeah.
Shoot her drumsticks in her pocket.
I was like, this is not realistic whatsoever. But okay. And then we get to, and then they're driving on the bus. They're going through the town of Sunnyvale.
And what's his face is dressed up as what's her face from Wicked?
Oh, with the green, because he's the witch.
Yeah.
He's their mascot.
Which witch is? Why am I forgetting her name? I can only think of
the lady from Wicked.
Yeah.
Idina
Menzel.
Idina Menzel,
but
or the other one, but the redhead.
No, not.
Okay.
Are you thinking like Kristen Chenoweth?
No,
because I was like, she's blonde.
I thought that girl, the lady with the red head, maybe she's not in that. Never mind. But I thought she was.
There's Glinda the good witch, and then there's the bad witch.
It's a lady with the red head, and she's like in also Once Upon a Time, and I could have sworn she was from Wicked as well.
Oh, Once Upon a Time, I forgot about that show.
I loved it.
I did too.
Anyways,
Captain Hook.
Very
was
hot.
all about that guy liner.
Did you watch it all the way, season 1 through 7?
I don't remember. Probably season 1 through 5.
I like that whole. I consumed it. Because
I was watching it as it came out.
Yeah,
and then, or I was watching it I binged, and then at a certain point, once I got to where it wasn't out already, I stopped.
Yeah. I get what you mean, because I watched it
season 3 or 4.
I binged it till season 5 because that's what was out, and then season 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I binged it, and then 5 was going on TV at the moment, and so I was like, oh, I can't watch this right now. I don't have cable because I was only streaming.
Yeah, I didn't have cable.
But eventually, those ended up coming out, and I binged them all.
What are those on now?
They're on Netflix. Mm-hmm. It's still there. I sometimes it's also now since I've watched them all, and I've actually have seen it a couple times. I think.
Damn, you a fan.
I liked it for some reason. I really liked that.
I really liked it too.
The storyline was always just where are we going now?
There's
it's
some
just
drama.
They're never fucking safe. They are never fucking done.
And what's that show with Cookie?
Cookie. Oh, Empire.
That show. Every turn.
I never watched it.
Oh,
but I know
man,
what you're talking about.
That was some drama.
Yeah, they had to cancel it.
Anyways. Oh, they did because of the drama?
Because of what happened in real life with Jesse Smollett.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But anyways, we are going to Sunnyvale, and we are saying that on the road, everything in Sunnyvale is sunny. The tracks are really greener on this side.
I love that.
It just looks like literally what they said earlier. It's the wealthiest and safest city or town, whatever you call it.
I was like, it's probably some bitches from Sunnyvale hosting seances to curse the Shadyville people.
Probably. And we have the mayor at Sunnyvale giving a little eulogy. I think that's what it's called.
I also like that they're the Sunnyvale Devils.
They're the Sunnyvale Devils.
And then it's the
Shadyside Witches.
Shadyside Witches.
Mm-hmm. And so we see then Dina is looking at a couple, and it's a boy and a girl, and they're kissing up on each other.
And
a
one's
jock
getting a good handful of
and
a
a
booty.
and a
Double.
cheerleader. And that was me. I'm sorry, you
I
guys.
was like, what was that sound?
It's gonna rain. That's what it's letting me know. But now I will now put that on silent. That was really cool though. That sound.
It told you. Yeah, I liked it.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
He's grabbing daddy.
And so we're watching this couple kind of get all a little canoodle and boodle, and we have Dina walking away because she's like, I had enough of this. I'm walking away. We see her sitting I guess behind the bleachers, behind the stadium. I don't know where they're at. And then we see Sam walk up, and we figure out that it's
Sam's
a girl, and she's the
Yay.
cheerleader, and she's super cute. And
Save the cheerleader, save the world.
Literally. And justice for heroes. Anyways, we have Sam
This is
giving
just a television.
We're just talking about
series
everything.
show.
Dina gives Sam a box of her stuff back, and Sam is just like, "Is this my stuff?" And I'm just like, "Duh, of
Do you
course
ever
it is."
give people their stuff back? I always just throw it right in the trash.
No, because I honestly also
I don't want to see them again.
Don't.
Put it in the trash.
No, yeah. If it's something that it's like personal, I guess I usually I've gotten rid of it.
Mhm.
I just like throw it. For the
Outside,
most
out of
part,
mind.
I'll usually put it away somewhere, like under a bed in a box or something, to where I don't see it.
But then you have
And
to
then-
find it later.
Well, then usually by the time I find it later, I'm like, oh, I don't care about any of this, and I throw it away.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not like a trigger or anything.
that's
Yeah.
fair.
But yeah, but I also haven't done that in a long time. That was like 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so we have the her giving her that shit back. We have then on the football field, the jocks are just being stupid.
Yeah,
and they're
Peter
going
was
back
being
and
a
forth.
fucking dick.
They're going back and forth at each other.
Back and forth.
And
What
it's
he
like,
said-
why are we going on about this, love? What are we talking about, bloke?
Love.
It's a little bit too much. And so we have them going off, and honestly, the Sunnyvale people are being fucking assholes.
They were.
They're
What
dicks.
they said was hella insensitive.
It's very
And it was like,
insensitive.
Yo,
And
what the fuck? I felt like that guy was entirely entitled to his reaction.
we get a brawl happening on the football field on the 40-yard line, and
Well, Dina is kind of also she's losing her sense like shit, and it's like, girl, you were a little bit overreacting.
Yeah,
she's like, you moved away from us, and like, and she
because Sam is
what's-her-face was
exposing
like,
that really Dina is the one who ended the relationship, so like she shouldn't be acting this way.
and
or
then
feel
she
a
was
certain
like,
way.
my parents got divorced, which is like, that's a lot for her to fucking deal with.
Because then she's like, I only live 30 minutes away, and then Dina's like,
Might as well be on the moon.
literally, and I'm like, girl, this is a lot for 30 minutes away. This is a lot. Yes, this didn't have to happen. But
No.
also, yeah, it's teenagers and emotions, and we got the boys and the cheerleaders egging them on the field. They're getting into a fight. It gets broken up by Sheriff Good. And then after that, we have the kids on the bus, and they are
because
literally Kate is lit up.
Yeah,
Kate
she gets an elbow to the face.
Kate is me and a few other people after a few drinks, and someone looks
kill
at you.
those
Someone
preppy
looks at you the wrong
assholes.
way, or it's like someone bumps into you in the club.
They
and we're
breathe.
Like, what?
Bitch, you won't fight.
Yeah. So we have her then going off, and she's screaming, we are not the reject pile. They can't treat us like this anymore. What are we gonna do? We're gonna kill those preppy assholes.
Yeah,
and
kill
I was
'em.
like, okay, that's actually a bit much.
Yeah, it's like done some murder.
Very passionate speech, but honestly a little too young to like be throwing your life away because of like some petty shit.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, we have them on the bus, and then we have the Sunnyvalers right behind them, and they are beating away at them, and
in a skull mask.
Yeah,
So
and-
being hella insensitive.
Yeah.
And the fact that Sam's like even in
riding
the car
with them,
is like,
it's giving a poor taste in judgment. And honestly, she might have also she's probably doing it just to spite Sam. I mean,
Yeah.
Dina, my bad, who is obviously in the bus, and we have Dina like being like, oh, look who's behind us, you guys look. We have Simon mooning them.
Fun.
So we get some
White
moons, some
butt
moons
cheeks.
over my hammy. And then we have we have Dina getting this wise idea, not really, to grab a cooler because they're gonna throw it on the car behind them.
because they were throwing water bottles or something.
But like obviously, if the school bus is not
It's
going to do that, but and
glass.
obviously like they're ahead of them, they're behind. Like obviously, this is going to cause some mayhem. And even Kate's
Yeah.
like the lady who was
Are
just
you
like, let's
sure?
kill them. She's like, I don't know about
you gonna
this.
regret this?
Literally.
Yeah.
And then we have Dina getting a nosebleed, and it kind of freaks Kate out, and then Dina's freaked out, and then we let
Like,
go
drop
of the
the cooler.
cooler, and it causes the car to crash from behind them.
So do you think that the witch caused the nosebleed to happen on her to do that, and then caused the nosebleed in Sam, and then touched her grave to disturb her? Like she wanted to kill some people?
To be honest, I don't know why or how, because I'm trying to think of the other movies.
Because their nose
Why-
both started bleeding out of both nostrils.
Dina's
Typically, it's
nose.
like one nostril that you'll
Yeah.
bleed out of like more. But then like the way it was, it looked very similar for both of them. And so like I thought they were connected in some way.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I want to say maybe there is some bloodline connection later in the line.
Well, that's what I put later on. I was like, I feel like Sam is just connected to the witch.
But Dina is connected in another way.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, let's say that
Okay.
for later. Yeah.
I'm excited.
And so I might totally be wrong about that, but I think there's something kind of like that along the lines. And so we have them accidentally getting into that car accident, because like who gets into a car accident on purpose? But we're neither here nor there. We have Sam.
Me
as
when
soon
I
as
have those intrusive thoughts saying,
Leonard's like, do it.
turn your wheel. And
Same.
I'm like, okay.
And we have Sam, who then gets out of the car after it's busted, and she ends up putting her hands like on the ground, of course, kind of trying to crawl away. And as soon as she does this, she gets a vision, and she sees some images of like red and black. We see a witch. We see like
Some,
it's
like,
very,
iconography.
Yeah, iconography, and it's very fast, so it's not
Flash,
long at all.
flash.
It's like 5 seconds. It's really not long at all. And we have then her coming back to cognition with Dina right in front of her, and they're like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" We have Simon, and Kate. Kate's like, "We gotta be gone like 15 minutes ago. We gotta go." And so
Did a football game even happen?
I don't even think so.
Okay.
And so then we have the cops coming. All of these kids are like, "We saw nothing." What did they say? They're just basically like,
They're just basically saying like,
they're denying things.
Yeah.
Like nothing happened. It was just an accident. Nobody threw anything out. Nobody's telling the truth, basically.
even though someone said that they had seen Dina with the thing. And before that even happens, I think it's important to note that Sam kind of pukes up blood
Yeah.
onto
Simon.
And then I think consequently a little bit also gets on Dina's sneakers.
That's true. It does, because that comes in play.
Yes. And so, yeah, but basically everyone's kind of denying it. And then like Dina's going to leave basically after she said that. And then Peter comes up and he's like saying some shit to her. And then the cop looks
he
back and he
threatens her.
embraces her. And he's like, you sonny bit, like, or
You sonny-
Shadyside bitches or something. Like, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, he's threatening them. He threatens Tina. And everybody knows this minus the cop, apparently.
Yeah.
Josh wakes up Dina the next day. He's like, Dad, you better, come up with some story, or basically just like, Dad got a call about an accident last night. She's just like basically brushing it off. She's like, whatever. She tries to call Sam's mom to like check up on her, but Sam's mom is a bitch, and she's just like, you've fucked up her life enough. You should need to like stay away.
Yeah.
And then after
Oh, and when Josh wakes her up, that's where we get the pan in on her sneakers.
Oh, that's right.
That we see
there's
that the blood is on them.
And yeah.
But yeah.
We have a ringing at the doorbell that's constant, and she's like yelling at Josh to get it, and he won't get it. So she finally goes to answer the door, and there's nobody there. But
Until she looks out.
I was about to say, she looks out, and she's the skull mask guy. And she thinks it's Peter, but I'm like, that ain't Peter.
Yeah, and she's like, get him, you Sunnyvale piece of shit or something,
like that.
prick. I don't know.
Yeah, for a movie that's geared to like more kids, there was a lot of cursing in this movie.
Oh yeah, there was.
And there was like some heavy stuff.
I mean, that
like
bullet shot to
drugs.
the head was
drugs, sex,
Mhm.
like not necessarily
Rock and
sex,
roll.
but like all of it. I was like, oh, okay, that's yeah, we're doing that.
Yeah. Well, and then from even just the little trailer that it gave me at the end of the first one,
for the next one,
I was like, there was literally a girl getting pounded.
and they definitely draw from like 80s slashers for the next one.
Nice.
Yeah. And so we have
basically the killer's standing far away. She goes in like when the pizza bell starts going off, and then she makes that side note at Josh, and she's like, oh, now you hear the ringing.
He has priorities.
Yeah. And then but she looks out the kitchen window, and outside the house is Skullface with a knife, and I was like, no, girl, call the cops.
That's shady.
Because she was just basically like, well, I'm gonna go out there, and I was like, you're gonna what?
She's risking her knife. Yeah. At this moment, I'm also thinking like this girl's got a lot of balls.
Yeah. She does.
Even if it was to like you think it's Peter, some like he's got a knife. Like I wouldn't just like no. That threat kind of seems a little real.
Because yeah, I mean, he also the way he whispered it, like it held some weight. It sounded like I don't imagine that he's just gonna be like, yeah, easy peasy. Like, no, I wouldn't be going out there to
fucks with it. It's also the 90s. I don't know. A lot has happened since then.
Yeah. I was a lot ballsier.
I feel like a lot of people were a lot ballsier back then.
In like high school and stuff. Because, you got that sense of like
spunk.
Yeah. And you're invincible.
Attitude. I've got nerve. Hannah Montana.
I love it.
Anyways. All right. So, yeah.
Jennifer's body.
She calls her friends, Kate, who is babysitting and nonetheless babysitting. She's getting her two kids, twins. They're counting the pills and like gonna sort them out. She's like, these go here,
she's
these
go
here.
Work.
Yeah, she's like, and oh yeah, don't try any of these because if you do, you're gonna vomit and die, and everything's gonna be really sad that you're dead.
Choke on your vomit.
Yeah. And Simon's there apparently as well.
I couldn't tell if her and Simon were like fucking, and then I was like, oh no, they're not. They're just besties.
They're just bestie boos. Yeah. Because I don't know. I couldn't tell if Simon was gay or not. But then he wasn't.
Towards the end, he was giving very gay.
Yeah.
He could have been our bi king.
He could have been anything that he wanted to be.
He could have been a bi queen too.
Because why are we also just assuming his gender and pronouns?
They are a bi ruler.
And so we have her babysitting with Simon. They're kind of folding laundry and watching whatever, and they get the phone call, and Miss Thang, Dina's like, Peter's fucking with me, and Kate's like, okay, I gotta go. And as soon as she's basically like, I gotta go, we have the break-in kind of sounds.
Smashes.
There you go. Yeah, window smashing, and Simon and her kind of like, what's that? And so they're walking around. They see around the corner Skullface in their room, and he is looking at the clothes, the laundry.
I thought he was sniffing socks, like he was trying to steal some.
Like a pervy?
Yeah.
Perv? No. Mm-hmm. He is sniffing the actually bloody shirt of Simon that, remember, was what's her face's blood? Sam's blood. They don't really kind of necessarily like put that together 2 and 2 at that moment, but we do later.
I didn't either at that point in time because again I thought he was sniffing socks.
Yeah, I remember when I first watched that I didn't put that together. Yeah, because you're also just being like, why? Because he's also not. He didn't interact with them really. Because and then I'm like,
he's like, oh shit, I've been caught.
Why wouldn't he do that? Yeah, and so they think it's Peter still, so they're gonna go visit Sam at the hospital and be like, what is up with your boyfriend? Because you need to tell him to stop.
Yeah.
And they get to the hospital. They're trying to talk to this one nurse at the counter, but they're like, we need to talk to Nurse Betty.
We need to talk to Nurse Betty, who walks in with their pink scrubs, and on their name tag it says Nurse Eddie, but with a nice little B etched in. And I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting character. Like, honestly, a little spin-off with like the adventures that happened between
the adventures of Nurse Betty.
Yeah. Gives very Nurse Ratched, but we obviously, I guess, find out that was their hookup on getting the drugs. Because he's like,
we've had a little too many go missing lately, too many missing blueberries and bananas.
And so the rules are stricter, and it's so funny because I guess he's thinking they need to get drugs, and she's like, no, I need to talk to Sam.
I need to see a patient.
Yeah, and so they end up getting to Sam, and she's talking to Sam. But
she immediately hates on her fucking sweatshirt, and I'm like, girl, like, can't you have like one normal interaction, like,
or just like, don't start at 100. Yeah.
It's like, nice fucking sweatshirt.
Because Sam's just trying to like enjoy her fucking like hospital food,
her little
Jello
gross
or whatever
Jello that she looks like she's about to puke on.
And so she's there trying to chill. We have in the hallway Josh kind of flirting with Kate, because Kate's trying to get some snacks from the vending machine. Simon is also there. So while Dina is talking to Sam, they're kind of having like a little spickle spat, kind of arguing with each other. And
They're
Sam,
toxic as fuck to each other.
and Sam is basically just like, none of this can be true because Peter has been with me all night. And then Peter just pops out of nowhere and he's like talking to Sam and he's like, oh, what the fuck are you doing here? To Dina.
Like in the middle of his sentence
when he gets fucking stabbed from the back with like a big old, like a pole that holds like an IV, I guess, or something. It looked like that.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yeah.
Cool. It goes through his body though.
His whole body, yeah. It's basically a big old pole.
From behind the hospital curtain.
Yeah, and they're like, what the heck? And they're freaking out, obviously, and they start getting chased by Skull Mask in the room. Dina's fighting him off as he goes off for Sam. And then they're able to manage to get out of the room, and they start running past Kate, Simon, and Josh, and they're like, run. And I'm also like, I would have told them more, but like, okay, because they just leave
no
them.
explanation.
Yeah, they just leave them, and
they're
we
like, I
see
hope they eat them first.
Skull Mask running by, and that's whenever the other three freak out.
And you're like,
yeah, they take off going in the opposite direction.
I hope.
And so
It'd
they're
be funny
all,
if they chased after him. It'd be very Scooby-Doo.
They're all running from the killer, and I'm like, holy shit, this is a fast motherfucker, because he is running so fast after them. He ends up slashing. They end up finding the main like
original nurse.
Yeah, nurse who was at the desk dead. Nurse Betty tries to come out, and he's like, bro, you can't be here, and he gets stabbed in the fucking throat through his mouth.
Through his chin.
Yeah, literally.
RP
that would
Nurse
be
Betty.
such a like painful, I feel like, way to go.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you're also just like choking on your own like shit.
And like, you know, you're like when you bite your tongue.
Yeah.
Where's pain to have a whole knife go through it.
And I hate that. I do that a lot. I chew too fast sometimes. It's a really big problem, actually. And so we then get the girls are girling. We have Simon, Kate, and Josh getting into a fucking ambulance.
Yeah, they're
which
still
I'm
in
like,
an
because that
ambulance. Good
happens. Which they had already stolen, right, at that point.
Yeah,
that's how they got there.
Yeah, well, no.
They
steal it from there.
That's what it is.
And because they ran out the opposite way, hopped in an ambulance, and then they drive around to the front where Sam and Dina are, and then they're
getting
like,
attacked.
Get in, but not before Dina is able to pull off, or the mask has fallen off of Skullface,
and she sees that it's Ryan. Still.
Bullet hole and all, bullet holes in his head. He should be dead. Yeah.
And so they end up going to Sheriff Good because he had told her at a certain point, you told me to come here if I like know anything, or you know. And so she's explaining what's happening. He's kind of not believing her.
Yeah, he's like, would you say that it was more Dawn of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah, because he's just like, how?
Fucking dick.
And so he ends up leaving because they do get a phone call from the hospital of someone being like freaking out. And he leaves the two girls with this other cop who obviously gives like, you know, schmuck. And we have Simon waiting outside. And at this point, I can't quite remember where Josh is at. But
Josh is with them there too. They're all three. Josh, Kate, and Simon are there
in the ambulance.
They're kind of waiting outside while while Sam and Dina are talking.
That's right. I just remember because Simon walks away at one point.
Yeah, because he says, "I have to go pee."
That's right.
He has to go pee, and so he's peeing, and then that's when Officer Good drives by
and he leaves, and he like spooks and he jumps, and then we hear the singing. Talk about it, Caitlin.
And then while they were at the ambulance, Kate had asked Josh, she was like, you got any more of that candy? Like, did you happen to save any of that candy? That's the only reason I remember they were there, because I was like, that's right. You just worried about the candy. Okay. The
dregs.
But yeah, so then the other two come out after basically, Dina steals the gun from the officer because she notices that his gun isn't clipped in. Yeah. The like little, because it's got like a snap button covering over it, and it wasn't clipped. She notices, she kind of makes like a big scene, and she's like, I'm sorry, I don't know what came over me. And
she yanks that.
She steals the gun and gets out to the car, and then they were like, okay, but where's Simon? And then she was like, oh fuck.
And they hear him screaming.
Yep. So they go chase after, and which I was like, why was he like so insistent that she was so hot? I was like, her face was like cut open.
It's just his character. I think it's just to build to his character.
He was just like, she was so fucking hot.
Because he says that later on too.
But she pulled out this razor blade and started stabbing me. And he pulls off her necklace at one point, which
it ends up on the ground.
Yeah. And Officer Good finds it later. And so I think that was when he realized it was happening again. Yeah. Because he was like, oh shit. So then we find out like he's in on it.
Yeah.
Not in on it, but like he was a part
There's
of it.
something going on here, and
Yeah.
he knows more than he's letting on.
Which is like, why wouldn't you fucking believe these kids? You would have wanted someone to believe you.
So then he's probably in on something shady. And so he ends up, Simon barely gets saved because Dina ends up shooting this chick off of him, and we
Through the
see as
chest.
they're running away that she's getting back up. She's not killable,
And she's like bleeding black blood. And then he was like, I thought she was just a normal bitch, but then she pulled out this stuff. And then Dina's like, normal
razor
bitches
blade.
don't bleed black blood.
Yeah. And
I
so
was like, LOL.
he's describing that she pulled out, a razor blade, and then that's whenever Josh is like putting it together, like,
Was she also
OMG.
singing a song?
Yeah, was she also singing a song? Because like, if you look back, this has got to be Ruby Lane. And then he's explaining how she lost it when Psycho killed her best friend and her boyfriend and then slit her wrist. And then we get like him explaining that there's like just a list of psychos every few, like probably like 15 to something years that go crazy and end up killing people.
And this
They're
is where I
good
made the
people that
note,
lose their
like,
mind.
These masks are really cool looking. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see them.
And it goes all the way back to 1666 to the preacher or something like that, pastor or something like that.
Yeah.
Reverend, I think that's what they call him. I'm not sure, but it goes all the way back to that date. And we have Sam, who is coughing up more blood while they're all looking this up. And then we get to them once again getting to like Sarah Fear is the culprit. The witch is like basically possessing good people to do her deeds, because there's like this like child's rhyme or nursery rhyme that they sing, and it like basically describing what's happening to them point blank.
Yeah. And then that was where they come to, that's where Sam finally like is like, I saw something that night.
I saw the witch. I saw the witch. I saw her. Yeah, she says, I saw the witch. And I'm like,
it.
girl, you saw the witch. We all know you saw the witch. Thank you for filling everybody else in. And so they end up thinking that, okay, they need to go back to Miss Sarah Fear's grave, or what they think is her like resting area, because this all started whenever Sam touched the ground after coming out of the car accident.
The car accident.
Yes.
She reaches from beyond the grave to make good men her wicked slaves. She'll take your blood. She'll take your head. She'll follow you
Until you're dead.
Is
And
the rhyme.
so they end up getting there, and I love how they really do find her bones, but it's also like, why the fuck are they so shallow? Because they were literally just like, oh, here's her bones.
In like a little chain.
Yeah.
With her, conveniently, the lock says fear
Yeah.
on it. And it's like,
With the heart.
No, I don't think that's how that works. And then whenever, as they were getting out, they were putting on those headlamps, and Kate was like,
You sure
you're
you
not
don't-
going to wear this? And I was like,
with
girl,
killers on the loose?
this isn't any time for fashion choices right now. Put the fucking headlamp
Come
on.
on, Dina. She's trying to be a hard ass, but
Oh, need no light. Bitch, you need to see.
I would need everything,
I
because
would.
it's also not just a light.
I want
That
my
is when
whole
you
body
take
to
it
be a
off.
light.
It is a weapon. It is something. It is everything. And so you want your whole body to be the light. Did you ever watch Sky High?
Yes.
There was that character who glowed.
I love it.
That would be your power.
I loved Sky High.
I did too. It was such a good,
such a
cute
good
movie.
movie.
Yeah. Memories.
But so they decided that they need to rebury the bones and stuff to basically put them to rest.
Very poltergeist.
Yeah, and very just like everything, like they said,
Indian
it works
burial
in the
ground,
movies.
yeah.
But the way that they go about burying it is
Yeah.
so like what?
And then I think I remember, is it Kate or Dina? She's like, sorry.
Yeah.
They're like,
And they
or
wrap
Simon?
it in like a Letterman jacket.
Yeah,
of
it's not respectful
Sunnyvale person, I think,
whatsoever. It's
too.
not giving.
This isn't an
respect.
actual burial. You're just wrapping some bones in a
Just
jacket
putting
and
it
then
back in the ground.
saying,
Yeah.
"Here you go."
Not even 6 feet.
Yeah. Not at all.
It's not even packed.
No.
Like, it was just like, okay.
It looked like they really just like threw a jacket
I
on
love how
top
they were
of
like,
it
we
and
have
were
to undisturb her grave. And so
you
as
need to disturb it more.
exactly,
You need to burn her bones. Is
well,
what you need to do.
And as they're doing all of this, Sam has another vision, and it's like, it's you.
Because she uses the blood from her nose starts bleeding again. She touches the fucking bones that they found.
The hand, the
Yeah.
arms or something, yeah.
And then she gets a longer vision, of it,
and it's
like
just saying
clear
the
vision of
witch
the
is-
witch's
you.
face saying it's you, it's you, it's you.
And so that's whenever Kate is like, she's like, we're sorry. She was like, it's not even like, oh, we're sorry. She's like, whispers it. She's like, we're sorry. And then she goes off and she's
Sorry
like,
about Josh.
Josh is almost killed with the dude with the axe. She's just like, is it over with? Is it done? And then, no, it's not, because he
It was
almost
silent for a
received-
good amount of time, and then it was like,
And then we
Psych.
have the dude running up, and then he tries to attack Sam, but just in time, we have them taking Sam away. They get in the ambulance and they run off, and that's whenever they're all trying to figure out like what the fuck is going on. And that's whenever Kate stops the van because she's like, "No, they are not after us. They are after Sam. They
were
only
after
want
the blood
Sam." They're-
what's his face's
Simon's
shirt.
shirt and on Dina's shoe,
Mhm.
and they figure out that Joshua
Like
was never
Jaws?
attacked. Like the dude ran right by him. So these things are only coming after Sam, and so they come up with
They're
a plan
smelling
of
the
like
blood.
Sam is gonna be bait,
Mhm.
and so they end up. That's whenever at this point too, we do cut to the sheriff. He I think ends up at the hospital, and he's like, "Oh, there's all these dead people,"
Mhm.
and then that's whenever I'm like, "Okay, there's something up
As
with the
he's
sheriff."
going out, then he finds the Ruby Lane necklace.
Yep.
And he then, I guess it cuts away from him there, and then we cut back to the
them
kids
going
like
to the school.
prepping.
Yeah.
And they're like, basically, we need to wash any trace of her blood off of us,
Mhm.
and then we're going to like put her blood into some mop buckets and then mop it around.
Yeah. So they do end up doing that. They're like getting cleaned up. They kind of split off, except that Joshua and Kate go into one restroom together
Because she's like, I don't want to go alone.
yeah. And then we have Dina and Sam together, and then Simon just goes by himself.
Yeah.
Throughout all of this, there's kind of some dialogue happening. They're all kind of talking. Basically, Joshua and Kate have a little thing going on. We do have
She's like, can you come help me?
Sam and Dina getting their groove on, and then we just have Simon masturbating.
Mhm.
But we don't really see that. We just find out because later on, as everybody's coming out of the restrooms, because we do hear a sound or something gets their attention. Simon is like, wait, did everybody go to Pound Town?
Pound Town? He goes, me too.
Me too.
And
And I'm like,
because
yep.
it looked real sensual the way he was like going down, and I was
Mhm.
like, is he? And then then Josh was trying to very respectfully like wash, like, well, I don't even.
Yeah.
Basically, Kate turns around. He's like, "You're good."
Yeah.
And like barely even touches her. He's trying to avert his eyes and stuff. And I'm like, "Aw." And then the other two are getting at it, and I'm like, "Is this
Yeah.
really the time?"
It's kind of
doing
feel like
it.
this always happens in movies. Like whenever it's not the appropriate time, it's kind of like I feel like it's also why wouldn't it be the right time? Because honestly, you might just about to be dying. You might
True.
die. So this is like literally the last time.
But I would want to be like pretty on high alert.
Mm.
I don't know.
I wouldn't pass it up. I mean, if someone was offering, I wouldn't pass it up.
Yeah.
I'm like trauma bonding. And so we have them all coming back out. I'm like, oh, it's sex time.
And then she says, "See you on the other side." Sam does.
Yeah,
I think.
she
And I was
does.
like, "LOL." That's
Yeah.
TGOG sign off.
And so we have them setting up the plan at school. They're getting everything set. They're putting the blood trails. They are lining it all up to go into this one restroom, the same restroom that we saw earlier in the film when they pulled out the box from the little, air vent.
Mhm.
And yeah, the plan is, and it starts working, that all of these creatures, we call them henchmen at this point, are following the blood trails, and they're going to go into the restroom where Sam is hiding, but she's going to go into the air vent and come out the other side, and then they're literally going to set it on fire. Which honestly, for the most part, all of this does go according to plan.
Mhm.
It does happen. I'm like, okay, that's a solid plan.
They make them explode.
And to their benefit, like to them, like they don't know at this point, but yes, after they go in and they're like, okay, yay, we did it, we win.
Like, good luck coming back from that, motherfuckers.
They start these globs of like
They
the
were
black
like, "Bet."
glue that they're coming together from, start like clumping up back together, and they're basically
That's what was inside
reanimating.
Jennifer's body.
Yeah, and they're reanimating and they're turning back into what they were. And so basically they're like shit, and they're like they run out, they freak
Not
out.
killable.
They're not killable. And so then at this point they go to another area of the school or wherever, and they're just like, Sam's got to go. This is it, because
Yeah,
Kate
they're
is
basically
like
back in the room that Sam and Dina were in before.
Yeah,
The
Kate-
chemistry lab.
and
or
Kate is
something.
just like, you know what? I'm tired of running around for this bitch. Like, they don't want me. They want her. Let's just give them her. Like, this it. Like, I'm done. I'm putting up the towel.
There's nothing else we can do. And I was like, also, you haven't been running that long. It's been like a day.
Yeah. And so
okay.
they're just like, yeah. And so Sam is also just like, poor girl. She's like, you know what? Y'all shouldn't have to die for me. Let me end it. I'm going to go and they can kill me. And that's that. And obviously Dina is like, I love this woman. No, don't. Why are we doing this? And at the same time, they're like, Josh gets a clue that C. Berman, which we just know C. Berman at this point, which is his name.
She survived.
She survived the Camp Nightwing thing. So they give her a call because they find her number in the phone book and she's not answering.
And I'm like, that's amazing how quickly they just found a phone book in this chemistry lab. We're able to call her, find her address. And
while this is happening, they're getting still chased by these monsters.
Yeah.
And then it's...
and they leave that voicemail that's like, C. Berman, this is like...
yeah, please help us, you know?
Yeah.
And so at this point...
I'm like she's going to call back to that.
So this is all happening while Sam is actually just waiting outside of like the room that they're all in. And she's just like, I'm about to die. And we have the dude coming up and right again, as she's about to get murdered, we have them pulling her away because at this point they realize, no, we have another plan.
Because C. Berman survived
by dying. Yeah.
She survived, but she was actually the first to die.
Yeah.
And then, but she came back to life, resuscitated.
And so they're
like, we can do that too.
Yeah, they're like, let's Timothy this bitch. And so at that point,
that's where we flash to the cop
sheriff.
man.
Yeah, sheriff is dropping off a note in someone's house, and it says it's happening again.
It's happening again.
And he puts it through like the little mailbox slot.
I'm assuming at this point in time, I don't know, could be wrong, but I'm assuming it's C. Berman. But
what do you mean? The house that it's going to?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know if it is, and that's okay if it's not. I'm excited to see who it is. But that's where my brain went immediately on the first time.
Your brain's
watching
not wrong.
Oh yay!
Okay.
I'm smart.
We might as well. And so yeah. And
I mean, that's what seems logical.
Of course. And so they end up going to the store that Simon works at because we see on the wall he's been the employee of the month every month.
I was like, does he run this store? And chooses himself only because he gives that vibe. Like he would.
Oh, yeah.
I bet he's also a high school student, so I guess not.
But it gives, remember later we figure out he's been supporting his family like since 15. Like, dude probably puts in hours.
Yeah, probably.
And so we have them coming up with this plan that they are going to Timothy Sam and they're going to give her a certain amount of pills that is going to kill her, but they're going to get these EpiPens and stab her with them adrenaline and wake her back up.
Which
and
I'm like, don't you have a fucking
defibrillator somewhere? Or
yeah,
what?
in that
a fake
ambulance you've been driving around?
Yeah, literally. I'm like, you don't need those. But it's funny because they end up like telling her like, you're going to do this, take these two, but then take this pill, but then wait 5 minutes.
Feel like you're being fucked by a unicorn.
But then wait 5 minutes. And this is very important because if you don't wait 5 minutes, you're dead. And you got to take these because these are going to bring you back up. And then these are going to bring you down. And these are like, it's like so complicated that by that point I would have been like, I'm dead because I don't.
Yeah. Why don't you just take a bunch?
Take them all.
Yeah.
That's it.
Take them all at once. And I mean, that was too much. And then I'm like, if you're going based off of exactly what your brother did, which I don't know if they
body
were.
weights and all that is different. Her body weight's
probably wildly different. Yeah.
Like all of that. Yeah.
And so I was just like, I feel like that's not really going to work out.
I'm honestly writing in here, my notes are like, this is not a good plan.
Yeah.
Because they end up finding a better plan, like, moments later. And I'm just like, why weren't we doing this from the get-go?
Yeah.
But also I kind of get that, like, drowning is probably I've heard as if like
one
people from the dead. Yeah, it's one of the most painful because like your lungs literally explode inside you a bit.
Fun.
And so anyways, we have all of this happening. At a certain point, Sam is kind of scared to go with it all, but Tina gives this big old speech of like, you gonna die and we're gonna make this happen, but I'm gonna bring you back, and this,
we're gonna go on a date,
it's
and
gonna
we're gonna
be
do
the
this and make
happily
out.
ever after.
It was really, honestly, so everyone else had split off at this point too.
Yeah.
It was just Dina and Sam left. And like, I did like the pep talk that Simon gave Josh, saying like, basically like, yo, have some confidence in yourself because Kate's not a nice person. And she's not just doing this because you're about to die. Like, she sees something in you. So you should see it in yourself too. And I was like, that was real wise, Simon. But then, then the scene where they're going over the date, and so, I don't know, like, I agree. I would also be like, wait, hold on. Like, we're killing me right now. What if this doesn't work? What if I don't come back?
Oh, the whole time I was thinking of like, would I be able to do this
I
in a
wouldn't be.
situation?
I wouldn't be trusting these rando teenagers. I mean, I know they're not random to her, but like, I wouldn't be trusting any of my friends from high school to successfully kill me and then bring me back to life. That's not something I would be like, yeah, I believe y'all could do this. Cool.
Yeah,
I wouldn't trust teenagers with that at all. But then, yeah, this scene was a little too cheesy, and I was kind of like, okay.
At that point, the
let's get
cheese
it
was
over
kind of
with.
thick.
Yeah.
And it does kind of get cut thick because at this point, I'm like, wait, Sam isn't dying.
Oh, yeah. And she said, oh, because you and me are the way out.
Yeah.
Like, we're the way out. And I was like, ew.
But she's not necessarily dying fast enough, I would say, because obviously, like, and Dina's trying to shove more pills in her throat, and she can't
like,
take them.
Y'all ain't got no water?
Right? Because she's just making her dry swallow these. She's making her raw dog these pills.
In a fucking grocery store. Grab a water from, or just
and that's perfect because water
something.
bottles are perfect to like, like you just like squeeze that shit and it goes down.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we have her not dying fast enough. We have Kate stepping in to kind of save Dina and her because the dude with the axe coming for them, she ends up setting him on fire with like hairspray and a little lighter, which I
like
always loved doing like as a young kid. And then we have kind of a lot of commotion happening at this point because everybody's trying not to die. But we do have Kate going up against the dude with the axe at this point.
Mm-hmm. And as they got up to run, all the rest of the pills, those ones that were super important for her to take 5 minutes later, got scattered everywhere.
Yeah.
So that plan's
out the door.
Out the window.
She's not dying. And so then we have Mr. Simon at another part, whatever. He's doing his own thing. And we have Ruby Lane in there with him, around him. And that's whenever
But yeah, shit starts getting real heavy between Kate and Skullface.
That's right, because then he like ends up stabbing her in the stomach, and then he ends and the whole she's honestly putting up a good fight.
She was putting up a good fight.
You know what really like irked me honestly, and maybe they're just not that good of friends, is the fact that because I'm like because I have my notes, Sam is taking forever to die. That Sam and Dina at this point, she sees the lobster thing, like, we gotta drown you. But I feel like maybe it's like movie magic because also things aren't happening necessarily the way in order the movie's happening. It's like because we have to see everything happen. This is all happening probably within the same 3-4 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I was like,
no, whenever they got to the lobster thing and she was about to drown Sam, Kate was screaming in the background. They looked.
They
looked back.
They looked back. And I'm thinking Kate is literally fucking fighting for her life
to protect
there.
You guys.
And y'all are giving a shit.
Yeah.
Like, slice her throat.
Of course she was probably thinking like, okay, let's end this quickly. But
not fast enough, baby.
Yeah.
Because Kate is over there fucking like protecting y'all, taking one for the team.
And
literally.
then her head gets put through a bread slicer?
It's a bread slicer.
I guess that's what
honestly,
it is.
I love it. It was like a great kill scene.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like in fuck. What's that movie? Kingsman 2.
I don't think I've
in
seen
the
it.
burger place with Elton John where they've kidnapped him.
I've never seen it.
They put a man through a meat grinder.
Yeah, that's horrible, but also just really cool for viewers who love to watch that kind of shit. And honestly, with all the kills in the like,
that's the best one.
All the best one, but I do give like credence to like the actual movie because like they didn't like hold back, honestly.
Oh,
like, they were pretty. Yeah, because right after
I was a little shocked actually whenever the homeboy got like shot through the head at the beginning.
Oh yeah,
I was like, oh,
we're going there.
I thought this was like some R.L. Stein shit. Like,
yeah.
Ooh,
so
okay.
Unfortunately, as soon as Dina starts drowning Sam in the pool, the little tank where we keep the lobsters, because she's now like, I'm gonna drown you and then I'll resuscitate you. Kate gets put through the bread slicer. She's dead. She's gone. And then as soon as that, or after that happens, we have, I think that's whenever Simon then like kind of
Simon and Josh walk up.
He tases that Ruby Lane and walks away, and then Joshua and Simon see that Kate's dead, and then they're like, oh shit. But as
soon as Josh looks over to Simon
gets axed in the head.
Right in the head. And
then
thump.
Everybody dies by getting hit in the head. The shot to the head, the axe to the head, the bread thing through the head.
All those people, yeah. Good.
And so then after that...
basically right after that, we get Sam dying. She's drowning. And poof, because Josh was getting pursued now by Skullface.
Yeah.
And he was about to get like fucking axed, but Sam died, and so the ghosties disappeared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she ends up dying. They end up disappearing, and then
This is where they try to pull Sam out.
yeah,
and they're
literally
like,
because
EpiPens to the heart.
Yeah. Oh, and because Dina's like, give me the EpiPens. Josh runs up with them, and she's literally just like, and I'm like, I don't know if like maybe I feel like that's like a few too many. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm like, bitch, gonna be
It was like 10 of them.
strung out. Yeah.
It was like 10 of them to BH. And anyways, she ends up getting EpiPenned. They end up kind of like CPRing her, which I'm like, you probably should have just done that first.
Yeah.
But she did have all those pills in her, so that does make sense.
Sure.
But
I think she did need a
kick
back too.
If they would have made her like with the CPR and like she would have barfed all that up.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I also have never tried to kill somebody and bring them back to life.
That's true.
I
You've
just let
only
them
tried
die.
to kill them. But Sam ends up surviving. She throws up, obviously, because she's got water and pills all in her stomach. So, and then we flash to being there with Officer Good, and we find out that Sunday, October 2nd, 1994, and we're hearing the stories of our three survivors: Josh, Dina, and Sam.
Yeah.
And basically, they're all kind of making up stories.
They are.
And they're saying, all of them got their injuries from falling on glass.
Yeah, and Sheriff Good is kind of trying to get to the the truth of it all, but they're not letting him know because at this point they feel like, well, whatever, it's done.
It's done,
and we don't have to explain it now. We just want to put it behind us.
And well, he looks at Dina and he says, "You told me before, like, that you're not listening, like this is happening." And he says, "Well, I'm listening now." And she's basically like, "Yes, a little, too late."
She says there's nothing left to say.
Yeah, nothing left to say. My friends are dead.
And then at this point too, Sheriff Good is still being kind of a dick because he's like, look, I can put it on Simon and Kate, and they were strung out, and it was like a drug-induced rampage.
And she says it's a perfect Shadyside murder. And
story.
This is like it fits the narrative that these two like overachieving, like the overachieving, like top in her class drug dealer girl, and
the boy who's been supporting his family from since the age of 15, like
just trying to like peddle some extra to get some money by peddling some drugs and
quick cash.
Then it led to this murder throughout a whole hospital because where they would have been stealing the drugs from.
Yeah, which also just gives like, obviously that's also how police works. Like police work is like people just the judges just need like a clear cut line of like A, B, C. This is why this happened. And even if it's not the true case and story, if it makes sense on paper, we're going to prosecute and that's it. And that's fine. Yeah. Yeah. And so even he's like, you sure you want this to go on your friends? And Dina is very like, well, they're dead.
They're fucking dead.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. What else? They're not going to know.
Yeah. And so they have
ideally I don't want
all of
she
that.
Did say like,
and at this point too though, I'm also like thinking like the sheriff, obviously from what we knew earlier, but like there's something going on with the sheriff and he knows more than we're getting led on to.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so they end up they're still at the police station. Sam's mom picks her up. She's a bitch to Dina, like always. And then Dina's like, am I gonna see you tomorrow? And then Sam's like, I'm gonna see you tonight.
She said no. And I was like, bitch. Yeah. And then she goes, I'm gonna see you tonight. And I was like, hell yeah, Sam, kiss your fucking girl in front of your angry salmon mom.
Yeah.
The girl had too much salmon color on.
And
it was
so
too much.
I see that.
Not a monochrome look I would go for.
No. And so we have them back at the house later on that night. Dina is showing her mixtape. They're listening to it. We have got that, Joshua ordered pizza.
Fucking killer. It's like it says Dear Sam on it, but it's like the cutout of the magazine.
I didn't even notice.
Oh, on the cover of the mixtape, it said Dear Sam, and it's like, like a ransom note.
Yeah,
where you cut out
like letters from magazines. Yeah.
But also a very 90s thing to do.
It was. And then we have Josh ordered pizza, and it's a really weird thing because Dina comes down and she's like, you ordered pizza? And he's just like, yeah. And she's just like kind of proud of him. And I'm like, what? The homeboy just survived like almost getting massacred. So like I think ordering pizza by this point is like, maybe he had never ordered pizza before. I don't know. But it was honestly, this is out of the whole movie, this like dialogue and interjection of this like scene, I was like, why?
It didn't make any sense.
It literally did not. I was like, why is this in the movie? Like, I get it that they wanted her to go downstairs so the phone rang and she would answer it, but like she could have just walked downstairs. That's it just
maybe
made
just
it was
to add
so weird.
a little bit of connection and like emotional connection, like of a sweet relationship between
brother
the two
and sister.
of them.
Yeah.
And I mean, possibly because maybe this event did make him grow up, and she had always been the one cooking the pizza for him or something. Like she was the mom or something, but then he ordered it on his own.
But like honestly,
that's
the movie didn't need it.
I agree, but that's the only like
I feel you,
way that my mind makes it fit.
And honestly, like I hated that part. I was like, cringe. Like, why is this here? But anyways, she's getting a call on the phone, and it's C. Berman, and she's telling her it's not over. Like,
I was hoping it was just going to end with the telephone call, like just the telephone ringing, and then it's black.
I do honestly get and feel that this part could have been like not kept, and it could have been the intro to the next part, but the next part does still lead in with it, so it does give that these films were filmed in a way that they're like
meant to be
films,
watched only
but
in
they're
succession.
necessarily but they are also
like a series.
Yeah, because it's like when you watch a series of television shows, how like the next one will start off with like maybe the last 2 minutes of where the next show started.
It's a recap.
It's a recap, but not like a recap because it's within the same movie, if that makes sense, like storyline. Yeah. And so all this happens
also, but okay, wait, how did C. Berman call back to her house? I mean, I guess she said her name and she could look her up in the telephone book.
I don't know.
She tried the school first.
I don't know. You're asking too many questions, Caitlin. And so she's calling back. She's telling her it is not over. Then
it's not over because you haven't stopped her, and she's the one who makes the rules.
Witch.
She'll find a way.
She's talking about the witch.
She'll come for you.
Yeah. And so then we have Dina looking up, and it's Sam. She's like, Sam, but then Sam has stabbed her. And
tell me.
Yeah, and this was for me where I feel like the movie should have been like, okay, cut to black, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
We then get Josh downstairs. He's on the computer again. He's talking to his friends. He's trying to explain what's happening to them because they're like, oh, it was them druggies, and he's like, no, those are my friends. It wasn't them. Y'all don't even understand.
Was fearless.
Literally.
Which I thought was good for fear.
Yeah. Oh, Fear Street.
Fear and Fear Street.
So then we have a whole fight scene happening upstairs between Sam and Dina, and
you don't even know because his music's
too loud,
banging so loud. But then also I'm like, I wonder if he thinks that they're sitting there like fucking or something over him.
Maybe.
And he's like, "Ooh, they getting at it," because
turn
it was some like loud bang.
I don't even think that he heard it.
At all.
And he's also in the basement, and he also. Yeah.
Had his headphones on.
Yeah.
It was so loud though. Like it looked like I don't know why, but it looked like the room was shaking.
And then we have Dina turning up right behind him. He's like, whoa, because he sees her image in the computer reflection. And then she's like, she's all bloodied and stuff. They end up going upstairs. She tied up Sam with the telephone cord. And that's whenever she's like, Sam's not feeling like herself.
We have to get her back.
And
then it's
she screams.
From Sam.
And that's the end of Fear Street, 1994.
Yup.
Yeah,
and then you get the little it's like trailer.
Yeah, it's a trailer for the second part coming up. Yeah, so if you are watching, I would just like literally end the movie there, so that way you don't get spoiled on what's coming up with the second part.
Yeah. But yeah, overall it was pretty good.
I enjoyed it.
It was fun, easy,
especially for a second watch.
Easy watch.
And it's very easy, and it's almost 2 hours long, but it's easy to watch. I guess because of like its target audience, and it's not too highbrow. It's not going over your nose or your head.
It's lowbrow horror. They told us that from the beginning.
Yeah. And I honestly,
this ain't no elevated horror.
Especially in the continuation with the other two movies, I think it's like a very solid
opening.
Very solid opening for what's lined up. And okay. Yeah.
I'm excited to watch the other two still. I will say, like, after watching it, I was like, okay.
I honestly was honestly so curious about how you would feel about it, because I was like, after watching also too, I do realize like it is like juvenile, like you keep saying, because it's not like the other horror movies that like we've literally covered. The Hills Have Eyes. It's a totally different like level of horror. Yeah, because this is still like
this is an easy, like I feel like for people who aren't necessarily a fan of horror can easily watch this.
Honestly, yeah,
because it doesn't give like. You're not scared
the whole entire time. And I would say that there's a lot of drama interjected with it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lots and lots and lots. And then, I mean, even though there's some, not to say that there's not some gruesome fucking murders in it. But like I said, like even with the head going through that bread slicer and stuff, like
Well, and I could
Kingsman
see,
2 is not a horror film.
No.
That's an action / very much a comedy. The Kingsman
Yeah.
series is, and it has lots of gore. So, I mean, it's kind of like if you are a fan of action and you're fine with watching that stuff happen, like you could easily get through this
Yeah.
without, I mean, it still has like a little bit more of an, it's like, you know, of an air of horror than like say that, but it's not so much, it's not scary. It's just, it's got some fucking brutal death scenes.
That's also coming from two people who have a horror movie podcast.
That's true. Yeah. We're very desensitized to it all.
Nothing's too scary for me at this point,
Yeah.
for the most part.
No, basically, I just
And
watch it.
honestly, the things that have been most scary for me have been the things that have been just more like least scary, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Like just things that are kind of more true to like real life as opposed to like the supernatural or like the, you know, dealing with like cannibals or all those other things. Maybe because we're so far removed, like I've never had to deal with cannibals, so that's not necessarily relatable, but I would also feel like shit out of luck in that situation.
Oh yeah.
But
that's my phrase.
But I'm also like the
episode.
type of person who is like, I mean, regardless of any situation, I watch enough horror movies, like I'm going to survive.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm a Capricorn.
And there's also
Final
like
girl.
no will in me to like die yet. Like I'm not just going to like give up. No.
I can't
There's
say the
not.
same. No, I'm just
There's
kidding.
not.
I would fight. I think given in that situation, if it's not a post-apocalyptic world where
and
I'm
also-
having to deal with a little to no future possibly.
Then I'm just like, you know, might as well take me out now.
Yeah, I'd be like, let's get this shit over
But
with.
like,
But if it's a situation where it's isolated and I know that if I can escape and survive, yeah, I'm going to fucking live.
well, and also I'm too competitive. Like if it's me against you, like I'm winning.
It's like, I'm going to win this race.
Sorry. Like I won't make it happen no matter what. Like
If I got to like hold a card back and
Girl,
then
I'm
slip it in at the end.
I'm throwing marbles and pearls on the
I
floor.
got some weighted dice.
I'm knocking knees. I am Tanya Harding.
Here's a
in this.
banana peel.
Literally.
Banana slice.
I think it's time for some booze, you guys.
I think it is.
And I'm ready to give my boo.
Let's hear it.
I don't know if you're ready to hear it.
I am. I'm actually very curious as to see what you rate this.
4.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. And I think it's more so
Knowing the whole series?
knowing the whole series, but also
Just in a film itself?
I know it's not the scariest.
No, yeah.
I know it's not I think just basically that. I know it's not the scariest,
Mhm.
but in terms of a story that was written, not there no there's no plot holes. The acting, honestly, I felt all the kids did great.
Yeah,
Like,
they did.
Everybody
it didn't
did.
ever feel forced, really.
No, I did. I think everybody did really good. The content, the kills, the
Kills were
gore,
cool.
the amount of treading a line that is, we're still going to keep this like targeted towards like a younger audience, but we're not going to shy away from giving you curse words, giving you sex, giving you what happens in real life,
Mhm.
giving you murder. And just the overall like theme of the movie, because I also really love when we get into the second and third one, how true they stay to the time period that they're in.
Yeah.
It's just like, for me, I feel like
It's
I really see,
well made series.
I feel like I see all the hard work that
Mhm.
went into it to make this, whatever they were doing, like a good story.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like I'd give it a 4.5.
That's
Mhm.
good. I think I'll be curious to possibly change my rating
Mhm.
once I've viewed all three of them,
Mm-hmm.
because I've not seen any of them before. I remember like when they came out, like people were talking about them and stuff, but then I also just I don't really have a lot of time to watch.
No, it's the way
things.
that I just like made a face right now, because I'm thinking of like, I feel like I already also have my boo ratings for the next two movies.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
no. I mean, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you like them and you're going into it knowing you like it, that's good. And I think that's, I mean, every time I suggest a film that I've seen before, like I kind of already have my
Mhm.
idea
Of the boo rating.
what I'm
it
going to
would
give it.
be, yeah.
And then sometimes, I surprise
You get
myself by
surprised.
watching it back
It's
and
either
going,
under
ooh,
or over.
I actually think less of this film now, knowing all that I do.
Yeah.
Or yeah, I think more, and I really
Because
going
you're
to
going
appreciate
in with
it.
the
Like
an
Scream.
eye of like observing and like.
Yeah. And I mean, again, a lot
more
of the times
critical.
that I viewed some of these films was when I was younger and
Mhm.
honestly not as educated or as well versed in the world of horror. And so
Mhm.
now like watching it back and having a new appreciation is really nice. I think for me, I would probably give this a 3.5. I agree with everything you said. I did.
A 3.5. Got it.
Yeah. I did like the acting. And like I said, it was really like well shot. The kills were fun. It was entertaining, but a lot of it just felt, and it's not the scariest. Yeah. But I don't always need to be scared for everything I watch. But something about it, like, it just felt a little improbable. I guess some of it. I don't know. I am very curious to go see more though, because I really did I loved the Nightwing camp killer guy. I loved his mask. I thought that was really cool. I'm excited to see how, because like the little boy with the bat or whatever, that was pretty fucking creepy. And then that preacher man, that drawing of him was so disturbing.
Dude, when we get to the preacher man, and they already said what he did.
Yeah.
Let's not even bring it up, because if you haven't seen it, it might be a surprise for you. Dude.
I am excited to watch it.
The third one, I will say, is my favorite one.
Yeah.
And I don't even like period pieces.
Oh, see, I do. And so, like,
and the third one is definitely a period piece.
If they're gonna like stay true to it and stuff, like that seems really cool. And I did appreciate like how much
art thou Renadao.
I did like all the work. It was clear that this was not just like thrown out there. So whenever we even thought to do this Fear Street series, it was because we were talking about summer, and one of our listeners, Kesley, who again was on the Babadook episode, she said that y'all should really maybe consider the Fear Street series for summer slashers. And so I followed back up with her this week and said, hey, we're covering the Fear Street like series today. What would you give the first film? Like, what would your thoughts be in your booze?
Yeah.
And so she said, I really enjoyed Fear Street, but kept me on my toes and made me want to keep watching. She said, I'll give it a 4 out of 5 booze because I'm a sucker for the slasher energy the killers gave. So she was a big fan, and she gave it a 4. Yeah. So we've got a 3.5, a 4.5, and a 4. I think we're a solid 4. Yeah. And I mean, I am excited to go continue watching these films. And like I said, it's not that I wouldn't ever. I mean, it's not that I don't like it. 3.5 is still a good score. Yeah. Yeah. I enjoyed it, and I am excited to watch.
That's what I gave Carrie last week.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm probably, I mean, honestly, I don't have much more to do today than feed a little kitty that I'm watching.
Honestly, watch the other two.
I'll probably just go home and watch them right now.
Binge them. Because they're honestly.
It sounds fun. I got nothing else.
Honestly, they're really good. It's a good saga to if you honestly have a Saturday or Sunday where you're just like, I'm going to be lazy all day. Start it from the beginning and binge all 3.
Yeah.
Because it's really
it's not like a commitment of like fucking Lord of the Rings watching all 3. Like,
no, yeah. And there's not, and
less than 2 hours long each.
Less than 2 hours. It's not like it needs to be that. Like, it's not like, it's very easily digestible. Yeah. It's because it's targeted for a young audience. Yeah. And even at that, like,
that's why everyone loves young adult novels well into their elder years. Yeah. Like,
it's easy to eat.
I still read YA. Like, same idea. But yeah, so
overall,
that's
you
the
guys,
Fear Street number 1.
Yeah, 1994.
1994. Come back next week for 1978. I almost said 17. But yeah, come back next week for part 2 of the Fear Street trilogy. But as always, we are in the lovely Rogue Media Network studios. They take great care of us every week.
They do.
And you can always listen to our podcast or any of the other wonderful podcasts that are hosted by them on
roguemedianetwork.com or on all of our different platforms that could be the top 2
are Spotify
or Apple Podcasts.
And wherever you do listen, don't forget to
rate, review, like, and subscribe.
Because it's the only way that we'll ever get ahead in this world. And again, thank you to all the people who have taken the time to rate us and stuff. It really means a lot.
We got a few new reviews this past week, and it honestly made the fuck out of our days.
It did. It really did.
Caitlin texted me before 6 a.m. And I was like, ooh, we did it.
You're like, it's early, but you were at work.
I was already at work, but I was just like, ooh, Caitlin, why you up?
Then
it was like a good Ding ding. But yeah, literally, thank you guys. Thank you for all the new followers, listeners. Please, like I said, follow along with us. We're going to be watching Fear Street 1978 next week. If you already have ideas or have seen it, please DM us. Please put it in our comments. Find a way to get to us because we will mention you next episode. And
you can do that on our one social media platform, which is Instagram at
Boobaes Podcast, and that is BOO. Wait, BOO BAES, because we're your boobaes, not your boobabes.
That's right. And yeah, until next time.
Bye, baes.
Bye, baes. I should slow down. This stuff is strong.
By the way, I also watched Once Upon a Time.
I
watched it all the way through.
I thought I saw
wanna
you kind of
finish
perk
it.
up over there when I mentioned it.
I was over here drawing, and then when y'all brought it up,
like,
I was like, oh, okay.
We could literally have a whole podcast on just Once Upon a Time
I want
because
to
of so many all the
I
storylines.
don't think the last thing I remember was like Captain Hook had come back and to town, and I think Snow White had been like kidnapped.
That happened many times.
Oh, it
I'm
did.
like, which time?
I think my least
I feel like
favorite
I'm like season
season
4.
was the last one.
Same. The heights, whatever.
Yeah,
they
I
went
did
too
the
not.
far.
Hyper Heights
Hype-
or whatever.
yeah.
It was something.
Halcyon, Hypheon.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I think it was right when Elsa showed up. Did I?
That's season 5.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
was when I stopped
Yeah.
watching.
Mm.
Not because of that. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
because I didn't have cable.
Yeah.
And then at
yeah, I
that,
feel
like
that.
right after that, I didn't have a streaming service either.
'Cause
so I just like,
the second
I
half
watched DVDs.
of season 4, because they're kind of split up in half seasons of a whole season kind of thing. So the second half of season 4 was whenever we had Ursula and Cruella DeVille and Maleficent team up with Gold.
I think I
Yeah.
remember that. I remember that.
Yeah. So that was the end of season 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's also on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
Hulu and Netflix, I think, both have it.
Dope. Yeah, I might have to go finish that.
Possibly
So good.
Disney.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
wow.
I'm
don't
sure
know.
Disney Plus would have to have
Yeah.
it.
Duh,
Sometimes
I mean,
I
I
even
guess
put
they'd have to have all the
Once
rights
Upon
to
a
that,
Time
huh?
on just to fall asleep. My favorite season would have to be like I think season 2 with Peter Pan. I think that was such a good
Yes.
season. That was like
Yes.
because it was right off season 1, which was like still building things, and so we're just like still figuring things out, and then you kind of get like a twist, and then season 2 is just like, oh, it's like a little fun ride.
Yeah. I think, I mean, I remember like really getting into it. I was like, oh,
Because
fuck,
then
I
even
love
thinking of like,
this.
oh wow, Peter Pan is Gold's dad, and then like all these things, and like yeah.
Oh, they do so well explaining all that though,
Mm-hmm.
like going into depth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt like every character like had its moment, which was
Mhm.
really cool. And it made you see like all sides kind of. I liked
Yeah.
it.
And even the villains, like the villains were never just villains. Like they
No.
had such complexities to them where it
Like
was like
Captain Hook.
you were still rooting for them, like Gold or even the Queen. Like you were still like, you're still rooting for them, even though you're like, and then you love when they're evil because it's like, yeah, this is so good.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, now y'all have convinced me.
It's like a whole new podcast. Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're
Had
good.
to jump in and say
This
that.
will be our bloopers. Does it record you talking? It doesn't.
It does.
It does.
Yes,
Awesome.
That'll be
Yeah,
our
it
blooper.
does.
Welcome. We have a guest from Poltergals today.
Literally.
Speaking about
Literally.
the show Once Upon a Time. I love it.
Wait, before we come in, where were we?
I'm no fucking clue.
No,
That's a
yeah.
mess.
They were kissing up on her.
We skinned some booty grabs.
Yeah. All right, we're coming back in at 4:25.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.